It started like any other off-season content drop. An early morning Instagram reel, a few slow-motion throws, and a dramatic bass-heavy track to set the tone. But by the time the video hit the algorithm, Shedeur Sanders' viral training clip had already done something no clipboard, no press conference, no camp rep could do. It shifted the power balance in the Browns' quarterback room. Without a single snap being played, in just 40 seconds of crisp footwork, shredded abs, and laser-precise spirals, Shedeur didn't just show the world he was working. He sent a message to the league, to fans, and especially to Dillon Gabriel. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. I'm coming for your spot, and I'm not playing games. The impact was immediate. NFL Twitter lost its mind. TikTok edits started flying. Analysts started name-dropping Shedeur in the same breath as projected starters. And Dillon Gabriel, the man who was supposed to be climbing back from a slow camp start with grit and determination, he suddenly looked invisible. Let's break it down. Up to this point, the Browns' quarterback competition had been exactly what the coaches wanted: controlled, internal, quiet. Shedeur had been earning more reps, sure, but there was still plausible deniability. You could squint and still say Gabriel was in the hunt, until that video dropped. Because that video didn't just show Shedeur in peak condition. It showed a transformation. Physically, mentally, mechanically. Gone was the lean, college-style frame. In its place, a 6 feet 2 inches quarterback with the shoulders of a linebacker and the core strength of a sprinter. His release? Tighter, faster. His footwork? Balance, explosive, purposeful. He looked like someone who hadn't just trained. He'd rebuilt himself. And the most dangerous part? He made it look effortless. One clip showed him rolling left and firing a 40-yard crossbody strike that looked like it belonged in a Marvel movie montage. Another had him doing resistance band footwork drills with zero wasted motion. Everything screamed, "I'm built different now." And the world noticed. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel was doing what he's always done, working in the shadows. Quiet reps, grind-first mentality. Maybe a few grainy clips on his own Instagram. But compared to production quality and raw impact of Shedeur's footage, it looked like a local car dealership ad next to a Nike campaign. Gabriel's fans started getting nervous. Media members who were once championing his underdog narrative began pivoting, using phrases like gap widening and clear leader emerging. And Dillon? He snapped. Sources say his tone changed. His reps at camp got tighter, tenser. Not necessarily better, just harder, like he was forcing every throw, like he was trying to match a viral moment that he couldn't duplicate. Then came his response. Less than 48 hours after Shedeur's video dropped, Gabriel posted a clip of his own, shirtless in a weight room, slamming medicine balls and throwing deep balls into empty nets with a furious glare in his eyes. The caption? Let the work talk. I'm not done. And look, credit where it's due. He was trying. You could tell he was giving everything he had. But the internet didn't care. The comments weren't rooting for him. They were comparing him. Where's the touch? Shedeur would have hit that in stride. Bros still in 2023 form. Grit doesn't beat greatness. The worst part? He read them. All of them. Here's the thing people forget. Social media isn't just for fans anymore. These quarterbacks see everything. They live in the same digital world as we do. When a highlight reel gets 3 million views overnight, and 80% of the comments are dubbing Shedeur QB1, that doesn't just disappear in the locker room. That follows you. And in Gabriel's case, it started to define him. Where Shedeur's aura was rising, poised, polished, and cool, Gabriel started to feel frantic, like a guy who could see the finish line, but knew someone just blew past him in the final lap. And this isn't just about who looks better in spandex. This is football, and perception matters. Narrative matters. You think scouts and analysts aren't affected by the footage? You think teammates aren't watching those videos in their group chats? Of course they are. Because the footage wasn't just about mechanics. It was about control, about showing the world, I'm not hoping to earn it. I'm preparing to take it. Shedeur's video looked like it belonged on Path to the Pros. Dillon's looked like a commercial for hope. And look, some people say it's just training footage. No pads. No defense. Don't overreact. And that's fair if the context didn't matter. But it does. This isn't just about what Shedeur looked like. It's about what it meant. It was a statement. A flex, yes, but an earned one. A reminder that while the media was debating who might earn QB1, he'd already decided who he was going to be. And Gabriel? He's still trying to convince people. And that's the core issue. Shedeur is playing with identity. Gabriel's playing with urgency. One is writing his future. The other is trying to prevent his story from becoming the past. And fans feel that. That's why the internet exploded. The memes, the debate shows, the message boards. They weren't laughing at Gabriel. They were moving on from him. And that, in this business, is far worse. Because once fans move on, coaches feel it. And once coaches feel it, reps start to shift. Install time disappears. Suddenly, you're holding a clipboard while the guy who just went viral is getting real-time chemistry with the starting receivers. Suddenly, QB1 is no longer a question. It's a timeline. So what happens now? Dillon Gabriel still has time. That's the truth. Preseason games haven't started. There are still practice days. Still reps to claim. But the gap is real. The buzz is real. And the mental edge? Shedeur owns it. Not because of one video, but because that video reflected everything he's been building. It just gave the rest of us a glimpse. The Browns have a tough call coming, but maybe not as tough as it once seemed, because the pressure isn't just on the quarterbacks anymore. It's on the staff, on the franchise, on Cleveland. Are they going to stick to their original blueprint, or are they going to pivot to the player who's clearly ready to carry the torch? Because the truth is, QB1 might have been decided the moment that video dropped. Dillon Gabriel? He's still chasing. But Shedeur Sanders? He's already gone. Let's pick up where we left off. Because while the social media frenzy surrounding Shedeur Sanders' viral training video might seem like a flash-in-the-pan moment to the untrained eye, its ripple effects have carved straight through the Browns' depth chart, leaving Dillon Gabriel scrambling for air. And this isn't just about a video anymore. It's about reality setting in. It's about how momentum, perception, and preparation collide in real time, and how some players rise through it, while others get buried beneath it. Because for Dillon Gabriel, this isn't a narrative crisis. This is a career-altering event. Let's talk about what happens to a quarterback psyche when a viral moment doesn't inspire you. It defines your downfall. When your competitor becomes the face of the franchise in 60 seconds of choreographed brilliance, and all you have is a shaky vertical video of you throwing deep outs on a high school field. No music, no swagger, no storyline, just work that nobody's watching. And that's the reality Dillon is facing right now. As the spotlight on Shedeur grows brighter, Gabriel isn't just losing reps, he's losing relevance. The Browns won't say it publicly. They'll keep pushing the open competition narrative. But don't be fooled. When one quarterback is being retweeted by Hall of Famers and the other is being politely ignored by the local beat writer, the battle isn't 50-50. It's 90 out of 10, and the 10 is running on fumes. And Gabriel knows it, because here's the dirty truth about modern football. Talent doesn't go viral. Dominance does. And Shedeur didn't just go viral because he looks good in training gear. He went viral because his video felt inevitable. Like the arrival of a player who's been walking toward this moment for years. Everything, the polished mechanics, the physical build, the calm pacing, the command, said one thing: I'm already the guy. So when Gabriel tries to respond with content, with effort, with some clips of him doing band work or shoulder mobility drills, it feels like he's playing catch-up in a race that already finished. And that's dangerous territory. Because when a quarterback starts trying to win on social media, when he's more focused on perception than progression, it shows up in practice. And according to sources inside the Browns camp, it's already showing up. Gabriel's been described as tense, inconsistent, and, for the first time this summer, visibly rattled. Which brings us to the unspoken part of this entire quarterback battle. Control, not just over the offense, but over the moment. And Shedeur? He's been in control since day one. The way he moves, the way he speaks, the way he handles pressure, even the way he posted that training footage, edited but not flashy, intense but not corny, was a masterclass in controlled aggression. He's not fighting to win the job anymore. He's waiting for the Browns to catch up and admit he already has it. Meanwhile, Gabriel's out here trying to create his own moment. But here's the truth. You can't force a moment, especially not against someone who's become one. And now we're seeing the consequences unfold day by day. Teammates are gravitating toward Shedeur. Veteran receivers are requesting reps with him. The huddle, when he's under center, has a rhythm, a tone. It's not just next man up energy, it's leadership. And leadership, once it's earned, doesn't go back in the box. That's what Gabriel's camp seems to be missing. The idea that they can still control the messaging or keep the competition open by pumping out training clips or challenging narratives. It's too late. The conversation has moved on. The fan base has moved on. The staff, quietly, slowly, is moving on. And Shedeur, he's moving. Now let's take a moment and zoom out, because this isn't just a quarterback competition anymore. This is a culture shift. In real time, we are watching the NFL's power structure tilt toward a new kind of QB. Not just talented, not just marketable, but calculated. Shedeur is as strategic about his branding as he is with his footwork. And whether you like it or not, that matters now. Because in 2025, the face of your franchise isn't just the guy with the best passer rating. It's the guy who can own the narrative and the offense. It's the guy who can thread a 30-yard pass into tight coverage and then turn around and explain the concept with charisma and clarity at a press conference watched by millions. That's who Shedeur Sanders is shaping up to be. And no amount of protein shake, grit, and hustle content from Dillon Gabriel is going to close that gap, because Shedeur didn't just work hard this offseason. He evolved. And when a player evolves in full view of the public, the team, and the league, you don't stop that with tape. You ride it. So what now? Let's be brutally honest. The longer the Browns drag this out, the worse it looks for them. They've already got the guy. He's already won the room. The question isn't if he starts. It's how much awkwardness they're willing to endure before they let him. And for Dillon Gabriel, it might be time to rethink the role. Maybe he becomes a backup, reliable, supportive, a veteran presence in the making. Maybe he waits for another opportunity via trade or injury. Maybe he takes a breath and refocuses on his game instead of chasing Shedeur's shadow. But trying to compete with a moment that's already gone global, that's not a battle you win. Because no matter how many clips you post, no matter how many throws you make into empty nets, the reality is this. You can't outwork a wave that's already crashing. We've talked about perception, about control, about how Shedeur's rise has practically rewritten the Browns' offseason narrative from underdog grind to full-on quarterback coronation. But let's dig deeper into the psychology of the shift, the human cost of a changing pecking order, and what happens inside a locker room when a player like Dillon Gabriel starts slipping through the cracks. Because this isn't just a guy losing his spot. This is a player watching everything he thought he'd work for vanish in real time. See, Dillon Gabriel wasn't supposed to be the sacrificial storyline. He came into camp with promise, with pedigree, with just enough flash to make people believe there was a plan. A calculated third-rounder who might grow into a leader arc that every team loves to sell in the summer. But then Shedeur showed up, and suddenly the entire emotional temperature of the room changed. Where there was supposed to be structure, there's now improvisation. Where there was once competition, there's now a silent, widening gap. The kind no coach will admit, but everyone on the field can feel. And Gabriel? He's living in that in-between space. The worst place for a quarterback to exist. Not quite bench, but not really in it anymore. Floating in purgatory. Waiting for something to shift back in his favor. Knowing deep down that it probably won't. You can hear it in his press clips. If you even get them anymore, the answers are shorter. The smile is thinner. And we're just competing. Lines start to sound more like self-soothing than strategy. And inside the walls, teammates notice. Coaches notice. Quarterbacks don't lead in silence. They lead by gravity. And right now, Shedeur is the only one pulling the room toward him. Let's talk about that gravity for a second, because it's more than just poise or clean throwing mechanics. It's the total package. The brand, yes, but also the maturity, the body language, the ability to show up to every single moment like it's not too big for him. That's the rarest part. Not the throwing, not the highlights, but the unshakable comfort Shedeur has with attention. And that's why the video hit so hard. It wasn't the visuals alone, it was the intent behind them. The calm, clear message that he wasn't showing off. He was just showing up. Ready, polished, inevitable. Compare that to Gabriel's public energy right now. It's reactive, defensive, and most of all, tense. And tension? Tension is poison for a quarterback. Because when your energy shifts from playing to win to playing not to lose, every decision slows down. Every throw becomes a statement. Every mistake feels like the final nail in a narrative coffin that's already being built behind closed doors. And the worst part? You start to see your teammates' reactions change. The eye contact in the huddle? Weaker. The body language after misread? Different. And then the whispers start. Not the loud, aggressive kind, but the quiet observations behind the scenes. He's just not confident out there. Shedeur wouldn't have missed that red. You think he's pressing too hard? The death of a QB's confidence in the NFL doesn't happen with a benching. It happens with those whispers. And by the time the coaching staff is officially reevaluating the depth chart, the truth has already set in. But let's not pretend this is only about emotion or aesthetics. Let's talk about football. Because on the field, Shedeur is stacking reps. Not just completing passes, but orchestrating drives, managing clock, executing red zone sequences that look, dare we say, professional. He doesn't just make throws. He makes decisions. He doesn't just flash. He finishes. That's what separates him right now. Gabriel might flash for a series, a throw here, a scramble there, but the cohesion, the command, that's Shedeur's now. All of it. You ask a veteran receiver who they want in the huddle on a game-winning drive, they don't hesitate. Not because they dislike Gabriel, but because football is instinctual, and instincts don't lie. And that, right there, is why the Browns front office is sweating harder than they expected to in August. Because naming Shedeur the starter early means admitting they got it backward, that the fifth-rounder was always the guy, that the three-way open competition was mostly optics, that the moment Shedeur walked through the doors, the quarterback room was his, even if the coaching staff didn't realize it yet. It means facing the fan base with honesty, and it means delivering that awkward sit-down to Gabriel. You're not QB1, and you might not be QB2. And don't get it twisted. This isn't a villain story. Gabriel isn't the bad guy. He's just in a bad position. The kind that happens when football dreams meet real-time evolution, when the player you didn't expect becomes a player you can't ignore. So now, as camp heads into preseason, the tension becomes procedural. How long do the Browns keep up appearances? How long before the rotational reps become permanent hierarchy? How long before Shedeur walks on the field for a meaningless preseason game and puts together a drive so perfect that the team is forced to make the move? Because that moment, it's coming. Not with fanfare, not with a team statement or an Instagram caption, just with a sideline shift, a substitution pattern, a depth chart leak, and then, just like that, it'll be official. Shedeur Sanders, QB1, not because he asked for it, not because he went viral, not because fans demanded it, but because he's ready. He was always ready. The league just needed time to catch up. And Dillon Gabriel? He'll keep working, keep grinding, maybe even reinvent himself in a new system down the road. But in Cleveland, his story has already been written. And whether it ends on the bench or in a trade package doesn't really matter. Because the spotlight, the momentum, the moment, it belongs to Shedeur now. So what's next? We'll let you decide. Drop a comment. Hit that subscribe. And if you got thoughts on Shedeur, Gabriel, or how the Browns should handle the firestorm they accidentally started, now's the time to sound off. Because this quarterback saga, it's only just heating up.